You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
U.S. Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why U.S. Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access Live. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Joined alongside Tim live in Green Bay. We got Jacob live in Wisconsin. And we get this stranger down here, Emilio. But I love right over the meat missile. Look how his head's perfectly placed. Pull that last comment back up, Jacob.
Which one?
The whoever it was, Smitty's last comment. Look at the meat missile framing out Emilio.
Oh no. It's perfect.
I like it, man. I like it. Emilio, tell us what's good, man, before we get started here.
Not much, man. I'm happy to be back. It was real good seeing all the family and being up there for the wedding. Congrats, and just happy to be back. Talk some ball. Honestly, legit, I didn't even watch the game. I was jumping into my pool at like 10 o'clock at night at home, and I would just kept diving in, and I saw it in the background, and I was like, I'll start watching it. And I've honestly only gotten probably through the first quarter. But it was kind of cool listening to all the talk. 12-hour drive, so I was listening to you, the whole time. And then
you caught up on the pods, huh?
Yeah, no, but it was kind of cool. So like that, and then I listened to the press conference today when I had some time. So I kind of got like everyone's perspective on it. Matt's, y'all's, like all that, and I guess I'm gonna kind of watch the film now and sort of go from there.
Got it. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Well, let's do this. Let's give a quick shout out. It's good to have you back, Emilio. I will say that,
Definitely.
Man. A bunch of stuff came down the pike today. Obviously, there was a practice. It sounded like pretty good energy throughout the practice today. I don't know if you guys heard anything otherwise. It seemed like the offense cranked up a touch. We'll go through all of the updates and hit on that as we move along here this evening. Is there anything anybody would like to lead off with before we get into some headlines here this evening? Anything on the forefront of your mind?
Do you all think it's time to start signing a free agent kicker, veteran kicker?
Uh-oh.
After today, our best percentage from our best kicker is 80.5. I don't know if we still have that schematic or screenshot of the kickers last year, what they placed at, but I'm pretty sure 80.5, we are now in the bottom half of the league, if I'm not mistaken.
Jacob. But C's get degrees, so they still have some time. We could give up another 5 points and still be all right.
Tim, I haven't heard your opinion on this topic all year long. What do you think, man?
You haven't heard. You've heard it a couple times. It just hasn't changed. Anders Carlson is your kicker.
There you go.
It's evident now more than ever. I've been saying this all along. So I'm just going to be patient.
What would it take for you to actually? I don't want to say admit because it's not your fault, but like, what would it take for you to be encouraged for the Packers organization to be like, yo, we got to fix the kicker position before the season starts, or after what point in the season? If he like goes 0-4, are you like, okay?
My position is bringing in a veteran kicker as an insurance policy can be beneficial, but it's a Band-Aid on a bigger problem. And either way, you're going to have to bring another young kicker in, and it's going to be a project, and it's going to be development. So I think you stick with Anders. There's a reason Coach Bisaccia wanted him here. There's a reason that they let him kick all season last year, and I fully believe they're gonna let him do it again this year. So I'm not opposed to if things really get crazy or go haywire, but I'm not panicking yet. I'm really not. I guess we'll see, another preseason game here if we get to see Anders kick at all. If not, I think they're going with him week 1. Honestly, that's just my belief. But it wouldn't take anything. I mean, I'm open. It's been an open camp competition, from the beginning. This kid Hale that they got, hasn't really done anything to make me believe that he's going to take Anders' job or even pass up Greg Joseph either. So I think it's between Joseph and Carlson, and if it's between those two, I'm going with Anders. That's just my gut.
Yeah, for me, it was always kind of a 5-kick lead. If Joseph got out to a 5-kick lead, I'd be like, okay, I think we're being silly if we don't go with the guy who's obviously been better. He's came back down to earth. Obviously, like Jacob mentioned, Anders Carlson is now at 80.6%. Greg Joseph is at 78.3%, and Alex Hill is at 66.7%. So for me, it's cut and dry. It's Anders Carlson. What I would like to ask you, Jacob, is what kicker would you like to bring in? Because it's not like there's great kickers just sitting out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was more saying once I feel like they would do this after the round of cuts would happen.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of teams, it sounds like from a lot of, I follow a lot of weird random pages and all this kind of stuff. And not like that. Shut up. And I know there's at least, a handful of teams, if not like 10 to 12 teams that really have a lot of successful kicking battles going on right now where they're in the mid 90s percentage wise and that kind of stuff where guys are just really booting it really well. And most teams, you're not going to keep more than one. So that'd be one of those where I think in my opinion, the way that I could see this actually happening is like we talked about on an earlier episode, trying to throw Anders onto the practice squad, kind of giving him a sophomore redshirt year almost, if you will, without letting him, leave and pulling a Daniel Carlson situation. We have him work with Bisaccia again, fine tuning whatever he needs to fine tune him in that way. I don't know, but that I'm just floating.
And for what it's worth, the Daniel Carlson, the way that happened, if I understand correctly, he was drafted by Minnesota or signed by Minnesota, was cheeks. He got cut, was signed by the Raiders, and Rich Bisaccia turned him into a great kicker. So if we're going off of that precedent, Anders Carlson has 1 year of experience. If he's going to make that jump, it's going to be this year, right? So there's a chance that what Rich Bisaccia did with Daniel Carlson, it took a year to get him, kind of tapped in. So maybe that happens. The issue I have, and listen, hindsight's 2020. This is Monday morning quarterbacking 101 right here. You should have made a move a lot sooner. You should have, in free agency, and I don't even know what kickers were available. You try to upgrade at that point. You don't wait until you get into camp. I feel like what Tim's saying, and what I've said here, pretty much the entire camp. Like, if Greg Joseph doesn't run away with it, then you just move forward with Anders. But if Greg Joseph, like I said, gets 5-6 kick lead, stash Anders on the practice squad and go with it. Now, Jacob, if you're saying there may be good kickers cut, awesome. Maybe there is a better option out there. If there's one position where a player can come in and have no chemistry with the team whatsoever, kicker's the closest thing to it, albeit they do have to get used to the holder a touch. Tim, you know about that. Yep. It's not like that just blends in perfectly no matter who it is, but it's probably the position that it could happen the easiest, if that makes sense. But Emilio, you going with Anders? How you feeling, dude?
Oh, I'm going with Anders. Okay, that man is part of this team no matter what. He's going to kick the bloody piss out of it. That's the truth. Hey, Jacob, the only way I would get rid of him if Carlson goes 40%. I mean, if he misses every other kick.
40%, Emilio?
Dude, why?
Lord.
You literally – okay, because my thing is we already have problems with trying to figure out who we're going to keep on the roster, right? If he is that bad, get rid of the kicker. We'll sign one after the fact. We'll literally sign one. Like Clayton said, we can hop in a day before the game and get one in here. If you really want a veteran kicker, we can probably find one kicking around.
Smitty or anybody in the chat that wants to be our Jamie, can we pull up quick what Anders' kicking percentage was last year?
83%, I believe.
All right, so you're telling me that you're willing to walk into camp. There. You're willing to walk into camp with 3 to 4 percentage points less of accuracy.
Yes.
With confidence.
100%.
That to me is insane. The definition of insanity for certain people means doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
But Jacob, we always want immediate results nowadays. That's another issue.
This isn't immediate. The guy, though, has had time. We've worked with him for a year. He was the only kicker in camp last year. He had the whole offseason. We were told he overcorrected.
Basically, be the Chicago Bears to quarterback to the kicker is what you're saying. Just new guy every year. Who cares if he?
No,
if
our
he
last two
struggles,
kickers were here
go.
almost as long. Our last two kickers were here almost as long as our quarterbacks, 30, plus years. So it makes sense that we don't just.
Right. What if they would have bailed on Mason Crosby after 1 year?
Right. What if
he kicked a lot?
I'm not saying this is what I would do. I'm saying waiting until he's missing 40% of it, or making 40% of his kicks is absolutely insane.
I mean, I know this. If you dipped it down to 35% and you minus that from 100, you get
65%.
65%. That's what for what it's worth. Go ahead, Emilio. What were you going to say?
No, I just honestly, the kid's been here, right? He knows that. What if it's already his second year of a 15-year career? We just are looking really short at his numbers right now. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying cut the guy. My point was that we signed a veteran kicker and we put the guy on practice squad and we fine-tune his game. Here we are.
Who is the better kicker? That's my question.
That's the thing, Jay. You got to give a name.
It's after cutdowns. That's my point.
I'm saying, but we cut Greg Joseph.
Who's going to get cut that's better than Anders?
But what
that's
if we
my whole
cut
point.
Greg
There's
Joseph,
tons
right?
of kickers out there that are kicking over 80% right now. Tons.
That's one. There's
more than 32
that are available.
That's not on an NFL roster.
Right now, that's what I'm saying is we have people that haven't gotten down to their final 53. You're not going to tell me that you have some squads that have guys out there with 3 kickers kicking over 80%.
Right.
You're not going to keep.
That's why I wouldn't be worried about Carlson. Even if we run in with Carlson, if we cut everybody, you could still go snag one that kicked 80% through preseason. If you run whatever their numbers are, you know what I'm saying? But where were they kicking? Were they kicking down in Miami? Were they kicking, over in a dome? We got weather up here. All that.
Smitty says, I love we're debating, arguing over kickers right now. LOL. I'm just sitting back enjoying the ride here, man. You know what I mean? My issue is listen, this is, and I'm not saying you're doing this, Jacob, but this is kind of society today. We need something better. What? Who? Give me a name. You know what I mean? And if you can, like I said, name a kicker that's one of 2 kickers that both of those kickers are kicking 85, 90% in camp. Hell yes. Sign them tomorrow. As soon as they're cut, get them on the roster.
That's the point. We won't know that until the cut day comes.
Right, but you could tell us the 2 kickers that are on the team, though, one of which would clear that, right? I'm saying make us a list and let's look at it. You know what I mean? Not right now, but let's bring it in and go, all right, here's 3 kickers that no matter what, one of these 3 kickers, one of these 5 kickers are going to get cut because the team's not going to carry 2 kickers. Let's potentially bring them in. I'm all about it, man. I'm all about improving every single position on the team. You know what I'm saying? I don't get emotionally attached to a single person. So,
and he's also learning, where he's got to place the new kickoff. We're doing all this other stuff. Jacob, what if he's in the background trying to cross train as a punter? I mean, that is your ideal man right there.
If that happens, then I'll eat my hat.
Don't eat your hat, man. Your hat's a nice hat. Don't do that. Jake Shavinky in the chat said Jets have Zerline and how do you say that? Siebert, both doing very well. What's very well mean, Jake? Give us the field goal percentage if you don't care, buddy. I'd like to know. Because again, man, if there's a better option, bring them in as soon as cuts happen.
I'll admit, I didn't know I was going to have to come in with a 5-point essay for the opening topics on kickers, but my whole point was just it'd be smart if by the time we walk into the start of the season, that if the guy is booting literally at 40% success rate, that we have a backup plan. That's my only. That was my only.
I know. Listen, nobody. Now, come on. Nobody was expecting you to come in before kickers. You kind of got aggressive in here. And
no, I'm literally. I'm not trying to be a prissy about it. I'm literally just saying.
Okay.
Dennis Joke says Jacob Sassy.
How dare you?
Everybody, I'll say one last thing is that everybody and the brother wanted to burn the kid alive for missing a kick last year that affected us in the playoffs and multiple other times during the season. So I guarantee you that if I was making these comments at the end of that episode, you'd all be in agreement. But just because it's out of sight, out of mind.
Because you never heard me say that. You heard me say Jordan Love took a sack and cost us 12 yards and made that kick a lot more damn difficult. So
I don't literally mean everyone, but
yeah. Okay. What is this? Put another put another gimp. Never mind. Jeez, oh Pete, Prince, you about got me canceled here, bub. Don't read that comment out loud because I just about did. All right. Moving along. I tell you what, man, I had kicker at the very bottom of the list tonight. And here we are 14 minutes in. This is good stuff. Good stuff. So, Tim, I know you got some practice footage today. You got a little bit of Dubose here, man. Tell me what you seen during practice while you were out there at camp today, man.
So this isn't Dubose. I think that's Wicks here first. They're doing these catch and turn drill here, try to protect the ball, and you're going to see Dubose right here, catch, and forgot something. So he's going to go back to the line. Keep an eye on him here on your screen. He's back in a drill again, and problem solved. 2 hands on the ball. He's wrapping up. So let's not all talk about running him out of town immediately because he bobbled one in the drill today. He also had a nice grab in some of the later drills. They were doing, some deep fade drills and stuff like that. And he ran under and kind of bobbled it along the side, but then secured it and toe tapped and stayed in bounds. It was a good play. So, clawing for his life here on this deep Packers wide receiver roster. So just spend some time that side of the field. Normally I'm by the defense. Today I got a chance to go check out the receivers and the quarterbacks a little bit.
Gotcha. I'm more concerned with the slope on that roof, to be honest with you, but that's just me.
Yeah.
That is what it is. All right, let's move along some headlines real quick before we get into camp. The camp updates. Rob Demoski tweeted this out. Former longtime offensive line coach James Campen is back with the Packers. I'm told he's going to work under GM Brian Gutekunst in a scouting role as a consultant. He's here for the final portion of camp, but will mostly work remotely from home in Florida. If you guys don't know who Campy is, you hear Bulaga talk about him all the time. You hear Tausch talk about him all the time. He was absolutely beloved. He was the guy that during Hard Knocks, Aaron Rodgers was making fun of his weight, and all of the grandstanders on their perches were like, how dare he fat shame him? And it's like, bro, he was joking with the
yeah. That's just two dudes being dudes, That's all that was.
Some of these people that tweet this stuff and like, oh, Aaron's such an a-hole. I'm like, you would not make it 2 seconds with my friends. I'm just telling you right now.
Or 2 seconds in an NFL locker room either.
Oh my God. Preach.
So anyway, in any locker room, Tim.
Yeah, really. It's true.
I think this is awesome that Campy's going to get a job here as a scouting consultant, I guess is the right way to say it here. That's going to do nothing but help strengthen the offensive line room moving forward, obviously, as they continue to draft. I mean, the reality is you're drafting an offensive lineman just about every single year at a minimum of one, right? There's so many on the roster. So
Didn't Campen play with Brett Favre too, if I'm not mistaken?
That's a great question because they
pretty sure that he talked about how Favre used to come up and smack him on the butt so hard that it would leave welts. And then he had to be like, dude, stop. Please stop.
I want to say that he was on the coaching staff for that long, that Favre was talking about him being, in the locker room and everything. But let me see.
I swear I thought that he was actually on the roster with him for a hot minute or something like that. I thought he played O-line, but
he could have. I'm trying to find here and see exactly because surely he played too. I should know this as a player. Yep, you got it. Green Bay Packers, 1989 to 1993. As a player. Yeah. So Favre came in 92, so that probably did happen, Jake. Mm-hmm. That's good stuff. So there you go. He's been in football since, he as a player since 86, from 86 to 93, and he's still, pretty much was coaching up to last year, if I remember correctly. So,
well, what's weird is he was walking around Jets training camp last week with Rodgers. So when I saw that, I thought, oh crap, Campy's going over there and they're going to link up. And then sure enough, all of a sudden he's back in Green Bay.
Billy Turner was hanging around our practice last week with the Broncos. Hopefully that didn't mean anything either.
There's a lot of – I'll tell you, when you got to hit the campaign trail to try to get a job, that's not a good look.
Might be time to start a youth football camp or something.
Exactly.
Something a little different.
Not like talent down in Florida, though. He can keep his eye on down there.
Right. So Titletown tweeted this out. I thought this was really cool. It said, grab your fellow cheeseheads and experience the ultimate game day atmosphere right here in the shadows of Lambeau Field as Green Bay faces Philadelphia in Brazil. They're doing a watch party at the base of the sledding hill on a projector screen. And I had quote tweeted, I thought about this for years. I had mentioned it several times. I know some people roll their eyes. I think this would be awesome. I said, this is a great idea. second only to opening up Lambeau Field to watch away Packer games from the bleachers on the Jumbotrons with the concession stands open.
Dude,
Clayton.
It would make
president.
so much money. Why would they not do that?
That's how I see it. It's like, could you imagine the concessions? It'd be.
Well,
I'm
hey,
not
maybe
saying
this is.
I'm not saying it would sell out, but you know what I mean? That'd be a good crowd in there for sure.
Dude, the revenue for the city would at least go up by a quarter from, you know what I mean? It's basically like doubling your games without the ticket revenue.
Yeah, you could do two of those big blow up, like you said,
they got to look at
in the middle.
I think this could be a beta test for that, maybe, Clayton. Maybe they start with something like this over at Titletown. I already registered. It's free. You just sign up. You can get, I believe it's up to 6 tickets, I think it is. You just have to register. They send them to your email, and it's kind of first come, first serve. But I think the big thing to consider with opening up Lambeau on a non-game weekend is staff, your infrastructure and your support staff that it's going to take to have the public inside Lambeau Field. So they'd have to look at the cost associated with that. But I think it's a great idea, Clayton. Certainly for playoff football, I think if we end up, road playoff game, I think we should be under the lights in Lambeau watching that as a fan base together. But yeah, it's just a matter of, if they can pull that off. So this is a good start, I think. Something new. And, Titletown always has great programming. They've got good people over there. There's always something to do there. 365 days a year, there's stuff going on. So this is just another example of.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
Just a unique idea, and I'm going to enjoy it. I think I'm going to go.
Yeah, little behind the scenes info here. This past draft, I actually contacted Lambeau and was trying to get a suite for the draft. Not this coming draft, but the last draft. So we could do a live podcast all weekend long from Lambeau, watching it in the suite at Lambeau, but they said that no podcasting would be allowed in the suite. So they were a little bit crabby about that. It is what it is. It's their, it's their facility. They can do what they want, but make the rules they want. But I thought that would be kind of cool too. Just even a setting like that. Now, obviously in the draft, it might be a little too chilly to sit in the bowl, but to sit in a suite at Lambeau and have a draft party, they said we could do that. But I just thought, what's the point if we can't do our draft party from their live?
Right.
Tool for this says they can just make the 10-cent beer night like they used to do in Cleveland back in the day. Dude, if you do 10-cent beer night in Green Bay, Wisconsin, everyone will die.
Dude, and they were serving the beer in glass bottles too.
It's
not a good idea.
Cleveland going to Cleveland, you know what I mean? Unbelievable. So we got a roster move. Packers signed fullback Henry Pearson. He is back on the team. Kind of interesting when we were talking about these tight ends, And again, Henry Pearson, his main value is coming if you want to try to run like a 21 personnel. He's more of that H-back, if you will. A true fullback. So I thought it was interesting, and maybe I'm reading between the lines here too much, guys, but it was immediately I was like, okay, who do they not like at tight end? Is there an injury we don't know about that they feel like, okay, rather than signing another tight end off the streets, maybe they just sign a fullback, one of which that knows the playbook, knows the offense, all that type of stuff. So Henry Pearson, it might be one of these two. Jacob, we've talked about this from time to time. You sign a guy 2 days later, they're cut. Like, what? Why did we even do that, right? But Henry Pearson back on the team, so I just figured I'd mention that real quick. All right, let's get into the practice details. Tim got us some really cool shots to just kind of hit in the background here as we hit on this today. Actually, I'm going to go with this other one, Tim. I love this shot right here, bro. This is clean. So first things first, injury update. And Amelia, I know you've been kind of busy with the wedding and all that stuff. So maybe this is news to you. I don't know how much you've kept up, but new injuries, A.J. Dillon, Andre Dillard, Tyler Davis, Preston Smith, who had an illness, so nothing crazy there. I think they said A.J. Dillon had a stinger, and they also said Andre Dillard, there's no worry if he does make the 53-man roster that he wouldn't be healthy. So these are just kind of minor bang-ups, if you will. And then Spencer, do we know how to say his name, Jake?
Dude, I was just going to say, I thought it was like Waggy, but I heard Boz today say something like Ouija. And I trust Boz. He's usually pretty like Ouija.
Oh,
yeah.
Like a Ouija board.
Ouija. I have no idea.
I'm just going to go with Spencer.
Yep.
That'll work. Yeah.
Spence Dubs.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Spence Dub.
Right. So still injured, Keyshawn Banks and Marshawn Lloyd, but returning from injury was Edgerrin Cooper. Now listen to this. This is news. Released injured, Jarvion Howard.
Yeah.
That kind of shocked me a little bit. So is that like one of those injury settlement type things, like the J.G. Wentworth stuff? You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably.
It's his money, and he wants it now.
Exactly. So, and then the roster addition, of course, was Henry Pearson. But when it comes to Edgerrin Cooper, to me, that was the news of the day. It was nice seeing him get back out there. This was Wes Hodkiewicz posted this clip. I mean, he looks good. Obviously, it was a hip injury. I think they were playing it really, really safe. Right here's Edgerrin Cooper. Watch him hit the sled, and then watch him finish through this tackle right here, man. That's not a good look right there. You don't want to see that.
It's kind of funny. It just slowly tips over, and you can tell he sits there kind of like a little kid, like, it looks stupid.
It's a good thing he had the Guardian cap on. Thank God for the Guardian cap.
Right.
So Edgerrin Cooper, man, little bit behind, obviously. Missing that practice time, missing the preseason games. Do you guys think we'll see him here in preseason week 3? I think you'd have to, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Let's see how practice goes on Thursday, right? I mean, I'm sure they're practicing tomorrow as well, but public practice Thursday with the Ravens will be fun to watch. But I would think, you've held back, you've played cautious with him thus far. Now let's throw him in, get him some reps, because we may need him very quickly here in this regular season. You never know. So
yeah,
he hasn't played a rep yet, right? In preseason at all. He was in practice earlier.
No,
in the season, or no? He hasn't played at all, right?
No.
Yeah, no joint.
So,
joint practice would be his first thing, right?
So they're 22 practices in, and he hasn't, seen the field. We need to get him reps, right? That needs to happen.
Yeah, and you'll get valuable reps with the Baltimore Ravens joint practice coming up here in a couple of days. Get him some reps in that last preseason game, and who knows, maybe he can jump right into the lineup. I don't know, but it seems like the consensus is that they think Eric Wilson will start in his place, at least for the start of the season, and then they'll start to work him in as he gets a little bit better grab of the defense. But the one thing I remember, you guys remember that first week of camp, Matt LaFleur was blown away with his football IQ,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and that's what Edgerrin was saying in his interview was like, I had the green dot in my ear. I was listening to all the plays, and I was kind of asking Hopper about when he came off the field where I would be, things like that. But I mean, Matt said the same thing about Tyron, was like, yeah, he looked really good, but he also looked like he hadn't played football in a while, right? Because Hopper wasn't on the field. So I think we got to kind of expect that same thing with Cooper coming off, no playing time.
Yeah. Watch his feet right here. Just keen on his feet. That's impressive. You see what I'm talking? That little toe tap right there?
Real light on his feet. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
agility.
And again, it's not a good look how it finishes here, right? It looks like Jacob on the dance floor right there on a Saturday night. You know what I'm saying?
Looks like that Australian breakdancer.
It does. All right, so Edgerrin Cooper back in the fold. That's great news, in my humble but accurate opinion. Obviously, another one that's kind of missed a little bit of time is Jordan Morgan. And Wes Hockenus tweeted this out and said, Jordan Morgan continuing to make progress with his shoulder, nearing a return to 11-on-11 with Packers. So, again, looks good. Everything looks fine. And it was the shoulder injury. So hopefully Jordan Morgan can get on the field here real soon, back in some significant snaps. I don't think they'd have him doing that if they didn't plan on playing him a little bit come this week, right? So this preseason game is going to be very interesting. We've talked about it. I know everybody who does a podcast around the Packers has talked about it ad nauseum, that are they going to play them or not? Are they going to play the starters? Or how are they going to approach this? I personally feel like they should play them. They I'm not saying a whole half, but you got to get some reps in there somehow, some way, man. I don't know. I don't want to go back to where we were, 2 and 3 years ago, where we're getting our butts kicked on week 1, And maybe I'm overreacting, but I'm definitely old school when it comes to the preseason. So Greg Rice says the Ravens are going to take our lunch money if the starters sit again. Yeah, I don't care about the preseason game. Now, if you're saying the Ravens are going to take our lunch money in that joint practice, that would suck. We got to show something, Tim. We got to, because the reality is you can throw the preseason game out the window, but the joint practice, they got it kicked. You got to go out here with the Ravens and show something, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, I was a little late getting over to the facility today, and by the time I walked over to the field and saw just the beginning of practice, one thing I noticed right away was everyone immediately went with their groups and broke off with their position coaches and their groups, and they were working drills immediately. And it seemed like a relatively light duty type of a day, at least from what I observed. But it was vocal, and these coaches were not happy, and they were letting these guys know it. And I really do. I think they've got to show some step forward here as we round out the preseason again. And, Baltimore is going to bring the chippiness. They're no stranger. I'm sure we're going to have a few skirmishes at practice on Thursday, which is good. The piss needs to get hot again, and these guys need a tune-up before week 1 in Brazil. This is the last chance. I do think if the starters do end up playing, I think we're going to see more action from them than we did in that first preseason game. Maybe double the amount of series or reps just to get some chemistry and momentum going with the starters. But, I'm looking forward to seeing our guys fighting to make this team ball out in the game. But joint practice is going to be intense, so I'm looking forward to being there.
Yeah, definitely. 2-0 for this says you have to play the starters. 3 plays isn't enough. I agree. Randy Cleaver says play them a couple series. AFAM says the reality is we have 500 safeties. Carly Ray says, I agree. I want to see the starters play. I don't think there's anyone who's kind of anti, let's get the starters some reps here in this final preseason.
On Move the Stick, Buck was saying you look over at Kansas City and Andy Reid's playing Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I mean,
exactly.
I'm fine with them running a quarter. I mean, you're playing football. There's a possibility, obviously, always. But they need to get some reps on the field. I mean, they really do. But especially before we go travel, to another, South America down there, and then we got to go play a international game. That's going to be important. We need to get a little, fluidity together.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. All right, so starters in team drills. Andy Herman tweeted out. If you guys would, Andy didn't tweet this out. I'm asking. If you would, hit that like button for us. It helps boost the algorithm, help other Packer fans find the channel. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Feel free to sub to the channel if you like this content. If you don't, have a great night. Pretend like we didn't even cross paths, all right? We'd appreciate it if you didn't badmouth us as you leave, all right? So starters in team on offense. Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, no surprise there. You had Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Dontavion Wicks. So Romeo Dobbs wasn't with the starters in team. Again, take it with a grain of salt. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it is worth mentioning. Reed, Watson, and Wicks were out there. Tucker Kraft, starting tight end. I feel like Kraft has had a much better camp than Musgrave. You guys know I was very vocal at the end of the year last year. I felt like Kraft was better than Musgrave. I'm not saying it's like light years ahead of Musgrave, but I want to see Tucker Kraft out there, and I want to see them utilize Luke Musgrave the way they have in the past, the way they did this preseason game where they played the 3 snaps. Use him in that kind of that flex role, flexing the Y out like that, and having Tucker kind of play more inline. To me, that seems like the better move there. Now, on offensive line, this feels like, with the exception of Sean Ryan filling in at right guard for Jordan Morgan, this feels like the starting offensive line. Rasheed Walker at left tackle, Elton Jenkins at left guard, Josh Myers at center, Sean Ryan at right guard, just insert Jordan Morgan when he's healthy, and then Zach Tom at right tackle. Offensively, we'll go around the horn here real quick. Start with you, Jacob. What do you think about this offense here, man?
I like it. It's nice to see that we kind of have basically our starters kind of healthy and finally trying to gel together. I don't know if I'd read too much into the fact that Ryan's out there instead of Morgan. That'd probably be my biggest, I don't want to say head scratcher, but just one that's a little bit kind of eye popping. I'm sure they're probably easing him back like we talked about just recently. And I wouldn't read too much into the Dobbs thing. Of course, Jake Shavink's in here in the chat trying to poke us, but
Jake Shavink says
Dobbs
not with the starters. That's my music, baby. I don't know. I'm not hip to the streets. What does that mean?
I think that means he likes that Dobbs is not with the starters.
Got it. Good deal. Thank you for clearing that up there.
That would be my guess, but trust me, I don't know.
What do you think about anything you want to hit on here at Kraft? I guess is the big question I've got for you guys. If you had to choose one today, you had to keep one, had to cut one. I know it's tough. It sounds silly.
Kraft.
Yeah, that's the best way to kind of ask the question. Jacob says Kraft. What about you, Emilio? It's tough, man.
Yeah, that's tough. I pass.
Tim, you're the tiebreaker. What do you got, man? Tucker Kraft or Luke Musgrave? You have to cut one. You have to keep one. Who's it going to be?
I'm keeping Tuck Norris, man. Flex on him. Let's go.
I think we're all on the same page there. And I think Musgrave's got a lot of talent. I think he's got a lot of upside. He may blow by Tucker Kraft this year. But based off what we've seen to this point, catch radius, catch percentage, low drop percentage,
Yak.
Yards, yes, Yak. Man, he's everything about him. It just feels like, hey, that's the better tight end as it sits right now. Now, I don't think they're going to look at it like this guy's the starter, this guy's the backup. I think it's more about deployment, how they're going to deploy them in certain formations and that type of thing personally. But we'll see how it shakes out. On the defensive side of the ball, once again, now this is the nickel. Keep in mind, offense in 11 personnel. So this is our nickel defense they marched out there. They had TJ Slayton starting alongside Kenny Clark. So it was Rashawn Gary, TJ Slayton, Kenny Clark, and Kingsley Enagbare. So maybe Preston Smith was sick.
So illness, yeah.
Interesting that it wasn't LVN.
Right.
Yeah.
Over there.
I think Enagbare is kind of poised for a breakout this year. It just seems like he's that player that we're hardly ever talking about. Mm-hmm. And we talked about the pressure rate the other day. I think we hit on that, Jacob. Like, I could see Kingsley Enagbare coming out and being like, hold up a minute, LVN. And Egbare's a step ahead. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
I did see in the game he got clipped on the knee twice, and he popped right back up and kept going. That made me a little happy, coming off a knee injury like that he was able to pop back up. Wasn't worried about he got cut blocked by the running back, taken right out and was right back at it. So that's good to see. And like Tim said, man, crazy that LVN's not out there, but I am leaning towards those hockey lines. We just rotate our defense, and we're just going to be at 100%, energy all the time.
Yeah, it's not so much who's out there; it's who's out there now, who's out there, specifically. Right. And this could also be simply because, LVN's put together a solid camp, I think, this year, and I think they might have wanted to see a little more of JJ and Enagbare out there, and hopefully we'll get another heavy dose of him against the Ravens too, get another sample size. But he's one of those guys, man. He just has a knack for being where you need to be. He's always around the ball. He's definitely that guy that's going to get that hand up at the line and bat that ball down. Fundamentally sound player. He's really developed nicely. And yeah, that knee injury last year kind of set him back a little bit. It was a relief to find out that it wasn't career threatening, requiring massive surgery type of injury, which is good. And I think he's bounced back nicely and, can start for us in a pinch for sure. And also give us depth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
What's crazy is when you said hockey line change like that, I didn't think of it that way. It's kind of unique this year. The Packers, I always remembered we had like a definite starting 11 on both sides of the ball. And if we deviated from it, you kind of felt like we were missing a certain part of that team. Like we have a hockey lean package or a hockey switch line package for the wide receiver group, the tight end group, the running back group, the D line, the linebackers, definitely all over the secondary. It is kind of insane that we have, I would argue there's probably 10 different starting lineups between both sides of the ball that you'd be okay with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Or if you showed him like mix this person with that person, you'd be like, I'll take it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. At the linebacker position in this nickel 4-2-5, they had Quay Walker and Isaiah McDuffie. To me, Isaiah McDuffie, it seems like he is the number 2 linebacker right now. That's and I could be wrong, but I feel like it's Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie, Eric Wilson. But like I said, Edgerrin Cooper may take that away from Eric Wilson right out of the gate. And I'm telling you right now, if somebody gets a little banged up and you got to throw Eric Wilson in for someone who's injured, I feel real good about that. And the linebacking core feels pretty darn good. And Tim, you called it out in the postgame show. You felt like Christian Welch played a hell of a game. I didn't see it as much. I wasn't focused on him, but it didn't pop out to me. We go look at the PFF grades and they were like, his run fit, his tackle, everything looked good. So
we had made a comparison. We had made a comparison with him to like an AJ Hawk kind of prototypical type of linebacker. And another guy, just like I said about Enigbara, a guy who's always around the ball or always head on a swivel, getting his arms up. I mean, when he had that pick in the preseason game, he had no idea that ball was airborne. He scanned and you could see he looked at everyone else looking up, and then he got his head around and went up and snatched that ball. I mean, it's just explosive type of plays, and that's exciting to have on your defense. I'm not saying he makes the team. I'm just saying I would not be upset if he did. And there's a lot of talent in this linebacking core. With Cooper and Tyron Hopper. Those guys are going to develop nicely. I truly believe it. So it's a lot to be excited about right now defensively. But I'm with you, Clayton. I think Quay and Zay, that's your 1 and 2 right now, and then Mr. Wilson being your third.
Yeah, I can see that.
I would argue, like Jim just said, I think Christian Welch might be my favorite underdog of the camp. I think he's this year's King or Brenton Cox Jr. To be honest, he really does. Every time I've seen him, he just looks very empowering. He's a big guy and he runs really well. Like we said, he looks like an AJ Hawk, more just that old school, very large bruising type of downhill linebacker. But he also looked comfortable in certain coverage situations. So I agree, Tim. I think that he is. I want him highly on my radar, and I would argue that if there's any of the 5 that get injured, God forbid, going into week 3 and then opening the season, I would bet Christian Welch is on this team, and I bet you he's on and off periodically through the season, if not just for practice squad stuff.
Yeah, he's a blue collar linebacker all day, lunch pail guy. Roll your sleeves up, get to work, knock somebody on their butt, do it again. You love guys like that in your locker room.
That goes right along with that 69-man roster we've been talking about, too. Like, I feel like Christian Welch is, if he doesn't make the active roster, I don't think he's a shoo-in for that by no stretch. But he'll make the practice squad, and you got a guy that you could call up at any point and feel pretty darn good about him filling in a pinch. I know, Emilio, we were talking a little bit about the 69-man roster. We had someone in the Patreon group, which
I think it was Dave that said it, but
Dave Cole,
up to be safe. But yeah, we've been talking for a couple of weeks. We need to kind of throw that out there because we know Kenneth is going to be our 70th. So we do need to figure out who's the 16 we're going to keep, moving forward. Thank you.
He drinks the working man's Gatorade for sure. We need it on a shirt.
Working man's Gatorade.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
We just need the working man's Gatorade and Emilio wearing a sombrero right there, right on the breast.
Emilio wearing
wearing the cheese hat sombrero.
I was going to say that, and then holding like a thing of salsa.
Mm-hmm.
The working man's Gatorade.
Jacob,
if we can get a Packers poncho for me, it's over.
Bro, when we ended the show last night, Jacob was like, "Man, I'm gonna go make some corn," and he got me thinking. Mandy asked me today. I was out there working. She was like, "Hey, what you want for dinner?" I'm like, "Let's do some corn, bro." We found the best Mexican street corn seasoning on the planet. I got to send you a picture. It was unbelievable.
So I just made regular sweet corn. You ended up finding. All right, never mind. We'll talk about it after. I need to make elote or Mexican street corn, or I'm going to lose my freaking mind. All right.
Cheese curds and my stomach hurt all the time, but I do eat them though.
Yeah, watch that corn, man.
It's so good, man.
Don't get me talking, Jacob. This town Mexican restaurant that pops off just started serving breakfast, and it's elite.
Mexican restaurant that serves breakfast.
Chorizo burritos. Yeah, coming my way. Thank you.
Sounds amazing. All right, get back on topic, guys. Be professional. Jesus, Pete. But again, shout out to Dave Colvin, who was mentioned, like, hey, y'all should put a 69-man roster together. That would be cool if we could come up with something that was interactive where we could slide guys up and down, and you know what I mean, Emilio, like have it to where we can adjust it as we go through and get closer
You'll
to
probably
cut
put it in
down.
an Excel doc. We'll talk about it after.
Yeah. He says I love how he says this stuff like I know what he's talking about. I just always nod. And he's like, Clayton, Control F. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, come on. Help yourself out here. But again, Dave Colwood in the Patreon group. If you guys are interested in joining our Patreon community, you can scan that QR code in the upper right. That'll send you over to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. You can go to the site and just search Packer Fan Total Access as well. Got some awesome giveaways. I know Murph just won a copy of Take Your Eye Off the Ball 2.0. That's being sent out. I know my boy Chewy, you should have your framed photo tomorrow, maybe the next day. Mandy's actually going to drop it off. Found out Chewy lives real close here in town, which is kind of cool. So we'll be dropping that off on your doorstep. It's a small world, man. But we do giveaways like that attached to the Patreon group for people who are supporting the channel. One of the 3 tiers, we'll do just random giveaways, especially on game days during the post-game show. So we appreciate everybody over there. If you're interested, just scan that QR code and hop over. We appreciate y'all. So moving along here, cornerbacks, Stokes, Nixon, Jair. No big change there. I think we talked about it. The fact that Nixon didn't play a single snap in Denver says he's got the slot position locked up, whether you agree with it or not. Javon Bullard is the backup slot because he started in the slot. And then after that, you've seen Kalen King. Now, I don't know if Kalen King's performance might have hurt him in that regard. Maybe Ballantyne could leapfrog him in the slot. Who knows? But, man, I don't know. I get kind of excited about the idea of Javon Bullard in the slot and Evan Williams at safety alongside Xavier McKinney. Jacob, I see you nodding your head. I just don't think it's going to happen early on. You know what I mean, man?
No, and we've talked about this many times, Clayton, that I'm not going to say, I don't want to seem like that I'm dogging on Nixon. It's just, we always talk about it's a good, problem to have. And it's still a problem because it is tough because we have a guy that's Nixon. We've already paid him a certain amount of money. There's a certain ego that's attached to him. There's a certain status in the locker room that he does command because of the fact that he's a veteran, and you bring in 3 rookie safeties, and 2 of the 3. And I actually saw a lot of stuff about how Oladapo has actually been balling. He's been quietly balling out. I actually saved a screenshot. I'll take a peek at it. But I think even Matt LaFleur commented on how he's actually really been taking large leaps and bounds for how much of a not head start that he had was hampered by injury. But, I mean, dude, it would be so awesome if we did have at some point McKinney. And I really think that Evan Williams is going to be great at that other safety position. Bullard is so aggressive, and I think that's what we need in the slot. I will say I saw Kalen King. He looked a little – he did not help himself that game. He just looked a little sloppy, and I'm not hating on Kalen King. I think he's going to be great as well. I hope he does make the team, but he definitely looked like he's got to fine-tune some parts of his game for sure. So going into week 1, I'm happy to be proven wrong by Nixon. So I hope we go out there and he balls out. He returns 3 or 4 kicks for touchdowns, and then we're all good.
Yeah. Respect oranges, sir. You need to cool it. I see you cracked it up at me. I'm like, somebody must have said something. You see it, Jacob? We marked it for you. We ain't gonna put it on the screen. You see it.
We'll just make sure you don't miss that one, Jacob.
I stopped.
But yeah, I'm fine. I'm not mad about it. But yeah, Nixon, let's back it up, right? So I guess we need to see it in the game if he locks down Philly, and hey, more power to you, right? But we want to see that defense step up this year. Definitely, we need Jacob to be top 7 for that tattoo.
Prince in the chat said impeach Nixon again. I love that. All right. So safety room, they've got McKinney and Bullard, Tim. No surprise here. Javon Bullard from day one seems like he's going to be that safety starting alongside Xavier McKinney. I know you're a big Anthony Johnson Jr. fan, and I've talked about how he played so many snaps last year as a 7th-round pick was really impressive that he was able to just kind of hold his own. I'm not saying he played great, but he was good enough to be an NFL starter, and I honestly believe he played better than Savage at times. He damn sure played better than Jonathan Owens, who was supposed to be a tackling machine, and that was not the case. But it does kind of feel like Evan Williams is ahead of Anthony Johnson Jr., right behind Javon Bullard there opposite McKinney. You agree with that? And I also feel like Anthony Johnson Jr. is more of that free safety, kind of McKinney's backup, right?
Yes. See, that's what I was going to say. I think that's become more evident as we've seen this camp progress, that he provides depth. I think Ant Johnson is great depth for this team, especially with the the way this safety room has kind of been restructured and, gutted and rebuilt. And, it's going to be interesting to see how Evan Williams works his way into those nickel sets, or really onto the field in general, regardless of what we're doing. I believe he's versatile enough to be moved around. He's got to get his NFL legs under him and, develop that reputation of being reliable. But, I think it's McKinney and Bullard for sure, and Williams being your third. But Ant Johnson, I think, has a place on this football team. I really do. Of course, it doesn't matter what I think. We'll see what Matt LaFleur thinks about it and Coach Bisaccia. But, no, I feel real good about our secondary as a whole. I think we're deep all around and poised for a successful season when compared to the last few that we've had. So looking forward to it.
Professor Cake says, I love Nixon, but man, I had to bench him on Madden 25 franchise. Kept getting toasted out there. It's funny you mentioned that because I picked off Caleb Williams with Evan Williams 3 times in one game. I said, put him in the Packer Hall of Fame. I don't care if he does anything the rest of the season. So,
can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So, I'm going to start another fight here.
Here we go. Round 2. Did you guys – so first off, what did you pay Clayton for Madden 25? Did you do the bundle deal? Yeah, so I've got it on PC. And if you get a subscription to like EA Play or whatever it's called, you get it for free. I say for free, but it's like $6 a month, and you get access to all the new games. But it's a PC special.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. Go ahead, Leo.
I bought the bundle, but I do have EA access as well. But it only goes for Xbox and stuff. It only goes for the
money bags McGee down there. Man.
So I was gonna say, Amelia. So what is that? Roughly $100 and some odd dollars, right?
It was like all because I'm an EA access, like 10% off. It was like $120, I think.
Was that a combo with the NCAA one as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's $120 right there. They announced today, the NFL, that the NFL package or the NFL what am I trying to say?
Sunday ticket.
Sunday ticket. Wasn't it like $6.79?
Yeah, it's not what I paid, but I am seeing that's what's reported.
Okay. I'm just asking what your guys' thoughts are. If you want to be just a casual fan that wants to be, if you wanted to say, I love Sunday ticket, I'd like to do it, and I like playing Madden, I got to dedicate $800 a year to be an NFL fan. I'm just asking because I don't know if I'm not trying to get into what prices are fair and that sort of thing. I'm just asking, does that seem reasonable to you guys?
I'll tell you, I'll be honest, there's going to be no tax on tips. No tax on tips. So you will have money to be an NFL fan.
Well, what, Jacob, you think they're gouging us on prices or what? I mean,
honestly, I think that it's a product that's I'm a free market capitalist kind of guy. So if you have a product that people are willing to pay for, I have no business telling you what the frick you should charge.
Well, I'm
asking you as a personal fan, would you really be willing to shell out about $800 plus? And that's not before you bought. And I'm just asking how much the actual fan spends on football, whether it be the food you're eating, the drinks you're drinking, the tickets you're doing, the packages you're paying for, the apps you have to use to do it, the jersey you're buying. At the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that like 10% of my take-home pay is going to the NFL. I'm just saying. That's pretty crazy.
I'll tell you this, man. I have no problem paying.
I'm happy. I'm cool with it.
I watch people waste so much money on lung darts and going to the club and all this. I'm like, bro, the value I get out of Sunday ticket, now they've got it to where you can customize the quad box. Bro, shut up and take my money. Like to be able to have the Lions, the Bears, the Vikings, and the Packers on the same screen and know exactly what's going on in the North, or you got the game. I'm all about it. But I haven't had a car payment in, 15 years.
Hell yeah.
So I cut money on stuff like that. I don't care about, dude, I'll roll up in a beater. I ain't scared. I'll roll up in a truck that's beat all to hell and back, right? People rolling their eyes at me. I don't care. When it comes to football,
iPhone 5.
I'm sitting in the box at Lambeau. When it comes to football, I'm paying top dollar to get the best experience. That's just me personally. So.
Yeah. Well, I was a little peer pressured. Clayton did peer pressure me into buying the game, but worth it. Looking back on it, hindsight, glad I did it. Worth it. Got a deal. You get all your extras and stuff like that. But Jacob, I mean,
but
I also spend money on other things that aren't football that cost money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
and for the record, I'm pretty sure I was with Emilio on that Zoom call where Clayton was trying to sell him on it, and Emilio was like, "That's a lot of money," and Clayton went, "All right, well, think about this. You're going to go to the bar like this many times, a certain amount of time to watch this and that game. How much money you spend there? And Emilio was like, oh yeah, crap. Just
he's like, how much does that tool cost you? And I said, oh, you're right. Yeah, I probably should just buy it, right?
Yeah. Now Sunday Ticket, YouTube TV has crushed it. It was the best experience last year. I'm just telling you, it was the easiest it's ever been to watch, and I just absolutely love it. So I see a lot of people talking Madden in here. I'm gonna add, hold up 2-0 for this. I gotta hit this. That sounds like Jan spending Michael's money, top money. I declare bankruptcy.
No, me's money? No, I'm not. I don't have any monkeys. No. I don't have monkeys.
I love it. So there's a lot of people mentioning Madden. I thought about throwing out the idea of on this YouTube channel doing some Madden streams around maybe like a Packers franchise.
Dude,
I don't know if
that'd be fun.
I don't know if people would be interested in it, and I don't want to take away from what we do. Obviously, it won't cut into the show, but I know Boston Connor's been doing it on the McAfee show on his own channel, and people love it. So
we can do a sim franchise.
Yeah, like we could run a franchise together, like the whole PTA crew, and when we make roster moves, kind of the chat, let them decide on what we want to do. Let Jacob decide are we benching Nixon or not, that type of thing. Anyway,
can we gamble?
Jacob said, "Can we trade a first round pick for Harrison Butker?"
Yeah. Let's do it, baby.
Anyway, let's go rapid fire. We're at the 53-minute mark, and we've talked about a bunch of nonsense. It's Emilio's fault. We've been on the rails the entire time we've been gone.
Today we covered kickers. We covered NFL Sunday Ticket, baby.
Right. No, I did learn a lot. I'm telling you, on the drive, I was keeping up. You were doing it, but now that we're back to it, we got to get off the rails as often as we can.
Yeah, people actually enjoy it when we get off the rails. But anyway, Camp, let's just go rapid fire. Andy Herman said, offense starts with 2 really nice runs by Josh Jacobs and a complete deep crosser to Romeo Doubs from Love. Love had all day. Beautiful throw from 10 to 87. Great start for the offense.
How about these hands?
That scared the hell out of me. Andy Herman tweeted out, with all the injuries at running back, Nate McCrary just got a carry with the ones, made the most of it. Nice little run up the middle. Good burst. Love hits Dobbs in stride, down the sideline for a big pickup. In a game, McKinney would have had a free hit on him, but he lets up on this one. So Dobbs kind of showing out a little bit, although McKinney kind of spared his life there from a big hit. Now, Wes Hockowitz says Jacob Monk rotates in at right guard. That was interesting to me, guys. Do you think Monk's maybe making a case, and I'll get your all's quick take here and we'll keep going rapid fire. Let's go around the horn with that. Do you think Jacob Monk is maybe making a case for being that backup guard even ahead of Sean Ryan, or do you think there's no chance he could pass Sean Ryan as the backup guard?
I think he's the Sean Ryan contingency plan if Sean Ryan doesn't work out. This position's been kind of a sore spot for us the past couple of years on this line. I think if Sean Ryan has himself a good year and proves that he can, handle himself there, then I think it's his spot. But, Monk's trying to find his way on this team. And, it's cool to see him get reps there at right guard. I'm all for it. Give me someone who can play right guard. I don't care what his name is or where he went to school or how long he's been in the league. We need to shore up the right side of that line for sure.
Yeah.
You saw it in that sled drill. Jordan Morgan was pushing that thing to Monk's corner. You know what I mean? Like when they were both pushing that sled, dude's got some power. So I'm excited to see what he does when he gets out there. And then, like you said, we'll figure out our contingency plan moving forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'd hope that Jacob Monk is the Sean Ryan that they thought they had in Sean Ryan's rookie year. So
right.
If you can surpass him, then that's what I hope. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Next, Andy Herman said, Love complete to Reed for a nice pickup, followed by another really nice Jacobs run and a crosser to Kraft for a big gain, and the offense is on fire. The big thing that sticks out to me there, Reed, Kraft, and Jacobs. Jacobs, it kind of feels like he's going to be the spark plug for this offense, and that's one thing we haven't seen yet, right? He got, one carry for 6 yards in that first preseason game. I think Josh Jacobs is going to be an absolute game changer. I really do, man. You seen Tucker Kraft pop in there. Check this out. Andy Herman says, Love to Kraft on a screen for a big game. Probably the best executed screen I've seen from Green Bay in a while. Mr. Yak himself, Tucker Kraft, coming alive. So 2-minute drill. This is for the ones, okay? So the number one, starters versus starters. It says the ones up first, down by 3. So they're down by 3 points. Flat to Musgrave, short gain, clock ticks. Jacobs over the middle, first down, clock ticks. Dobbs, short gain, but out of bounds. Jacobs, short gain from Love, but out of bounds, first down. 41 seconds left, first and 10, down 3, ball on the opposing 40-yard line. Little screen to Kraft, first down, but the clock ticks. Clock the ball, so now it's second down. 15 seconds left, ball on the 29, no timeouts. Jair and Watson get tangled, incomplete, look like Love was throwing it away anyway. Love back shoulder to Reed, down the left sideline. Reed couldn't locate it, incomplete. Field goal attempts upcoming, and then, of course, they talked about all the field goal attempts to go on there. So you see the offense is starting to catch a little fire. I feel like they came into this practice, Tim, like they got reamed out a little bit. Yep. Like, all right, let's get our crap together here.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, moving the ball was difficult in that preseason game. And really, like you said, going back to the joint practice with the Broncos, there were some miscues and there was some struggles. And, I had mentioned this before. I'll mention it again. You want to make these mistakes now. You want to struggle now. Do it at camp. Do it at practice. Do it in a preseason game so you're ready for week 1. But I think the offense has a fire lit under them. And you got to remember, too, it's been, a couple of months now finally that, a lot of these guys are used to playing together, different groups, running with the ones, guys running with the twos that may have been running with the ones last week, those kind of things. You're starting to gel as a team now. We'll see what the final cuts are going to look like, but I think guys are getting comfortable being around each other and all the changes that are happening, getting moved from left side to the right side, in and out of lineups, comes with the territory. And as you grind out a preseason, man, this is that time of year that you're going to see the team start to kind of click, hopefully. So it's good to see the offense getting off to a good start today.
Yeah, at least better than they were, that's for sure.
Yep.
Here was a red zone tweet by Andy Herman, said, Love to Watson, incomplete. Would have been a crazy one-handed catch, tough play. Then Love to Dobbs, Jair, all over it for the pass breakup. Sweet play by Ja. That's been a play that's worked a ton in camp. So it sounds like
took it down.
Starting to crank it up. You guys have got to remind me to get the "You Heard It From a Fan" drop. We've got to. We've got to have it. And then, of course, we'll end it with this: the play of the day. Andy Herman said, in the play of training camp to end the day, Love over the middle, Quay deflects it, Elton Jenkins catches it and drives a pile of 20 Packers into the end zone for a touchdown. Elton Jenkins, weapon. So you love to see it, man. Love to see it.
Man. I hope that was a true deflection and not a drop pick from Quay on those. We've talked about that.
Why you got to do this, Tim?
Oh, I'm just saying. I don't know. Did I accidentally get that on my footage at all? Let's see. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it could have been. I mean, look at all the drills that Coach Camp has been doing with Quay. We've talked about it numerous times, working on the hands. So I fully believe that that report's accurate. He probably just swatted a ball, and it was one of those freak things where the offense gets it back. What a play by Big E, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm wondering if they ran it like the replacements and he had a lead blocker too. The earhead play. Oh, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Billy Bob on that hook.
Yeah, give him a little brotherly shove. Yeah.
Come on.
Jacob, Billy Bob on that hook and ladder, man. You remember Varsity Blues, right?
Ooh. That needle goes anywhere near Wendell's leg. I'm going to rip off your arms and beat you to death with them.
Yeah.
I don't want your life.
That's such good.
10. A 10.
10. I still got wood.
Oh,
no, dude, the best part of that line is when right at the beginning, they're all partying, and James Vanderbeek's looking at Billy Bob. What's wrong, Billy? Billy Bob going puke. And then he goes, Billy Bob, think about calling some dinosaurs. And I never understood what that meant, but I thought it was hilarious when I was a kid. I was like, calling some dinosaurs. And then I realized, basically.
We always.
He goes, I figured I'd give him a holler. And then he pukes
in the washing machine, right? Comes right back. Puking rally.
Next to Paul Walker.
Such a good movie. Such a good movie. That's what we grew up on. That dropped when we were in high school, and it was like, it caused a lot of problems. I would say that. So, anyway.
Real quick, one last thing. My best friend at the time, Kevin Robb, his dad, who was a single dad, took me and 3 other buddies to go see that movie. When we were in 5th grade, he paid for the tickets and brought us in. And at the scene where they go to the strip club and they turn around and she takes her top off, he turns at both of us. He sat in the row in front of us because he was a cool dad. And he turns to all 3 of us and he goes, do not tell your parents I brought you to this movie. And we're all like, yes, sir. Yep.
I love it, man. The 90s were a trip, man. The 90s were a trip. And I'm sure everybody said the 80s were a trip. And the 70s were definitely a trip. There's no doubt about that. But
60s definitely were a trip.
Yes, correct.
Different kind of trip.
All right. Emilio, you have the floor, sir. You're back in town.
Happy to be back. Happy that the pack is back. We need to go out and win in Brazil. All right, we'll use this as a practice this week. Every day we get better. I don't know what else to say because Jacob's over here giggling.
I was just going to ask, do you have any contacts down there, Emilio? In Brazil?
Oh, no. Maybe a little bit higher north, but not as far south you could get in touch.
Tim, are you hearing this? Unbelievable.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Too old for this. Watch major.
Matt did come out and say in his presser that he thought that he was a little harsh on the guys. I think right after the game he was a little hot. I can see that. We talked to Jacob right after the game. He's hot about it. So yeah, Matt, maybe he said a couple things that he wasn't too happy with, but he was fake ripping a reporter as well. If you go listen to that.
I saw that.
Dude, I said you not to be late and after these meetings. Just go out and wait outside. I'm just kidding.
He got him for a good 20 seconds. You could tell, dude, you could hear a pin drop in that room. It was
But could you imagine if our coach was like that though? Like, I mean, that's a different attitude. So I mean, I think we have the best of both worlds. That Matt can be that hard, but also has a little bit of that laughter too.
Definitely. All right. Update schedule. Tomorrow, Tim, there's no open practice, correct, sir?
Yeah, no open practice.
And then you got the Big Daddy, the joint practice, 10:30 a.m. Central Time on Wednesday against the Baltimore Ravens. You gonna be in attendance for that, Tim? Or are you busy, man?
Oh yeah, I'll be there. Got some family coming up too this weekend. It's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be a crowd out there tomorrow or on Thursday.
On Thursday, yeah. So get there early. I know they're gonna extend the bike riding tradition to the Ravens players as well. So we'll have two bike paths for the kids and the players and the fans. So it'll be it's always a good experience when you get joint practice in town. And then of course just bring the earmuffs for the kids when you're standing by the fence during practice and hearing the F-bombs. So it'll be fun.
Tim's gonna be out there throwing nails and tacks out in the opposing team's bike line.
No.
Oh, sorry. Looks like you got a flat.
Throwing sticks in the spokes. Right?
That is so not true. That's fake news. That is fake news.
So listen, Saturday, man, we got a 12 noon kickoff. That is going to be absolutely awesome. What's wrong? Oh, God.
Dennis is getting us canceled in the
chat. Boy.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Can't wait for that joint practice. It'll be a good one.
Dynamite drop it. All right, we're out of here. That's it. You guys ruined it. You ruined it at the very end. We almost made it. So unbelievable. All right.
Just here to tell you, Pack is back.
Heard it from a fan.
Thank you for that, Tim. I appreciate it. All right, we'll be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central, for more Packers talk. Maybe we'll try to dive into that 69-man roster and see if we could pull that off. What do you think, Emilio?
Yeah, we could probably do that.
We'll have to keep up with it somehow on screen if we're going to do it. It's just going to be a lot of work. You know what I mean?
I got
Can
you.
do it? Okay. All right. Sounds good. Jacob.
I'm just reading the chat trying to figure out what
this.
This show is rigged and it sucks. Yes, I completely agree.
Pretty true.
You call me anything you want, but don't call me that.
Hey, if you're enjoying the chat, make sure you hit that like button for us.
Yeah.
Help the algorithm
if you're not enjoying
more people in here.
If you're not enjoying the chat, just please pretend like it didn't happen, right? So,
for those of you listening on the pod,
thank you for making us part of your day. Just go out and be better people, for God's sakes. Looking at this chat, just go be better people. Bye.